DCU director James Gunn revealed that he is under no pressure for the success of Superman and that all the figures on the internet are wrong. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. A movie's commercial success is measured by the budget of the movie times 2.25, and if the movie crosses that number at the global box office records, it's considered a commercial hit. Why would DCU director James Gunn be under any sort of pressure? I mean, only the fate of an entire cinematic universe hangs on the success of this one movie, right? No big deal. Well, that is exactly what James Gunn has been saying, as in a recent GQ cover story of David Corenswet, who portrays Superman in the movie. Director James Gunn revealed that people have overestimated the implications of the success or failure of this movie to extreme levels. This is not the riskiest endeavor in the world. Is there something riding on it? Yeah, but it's not as big as people make it out to be. They hear these numbers that the movie's only going to be successful if it makes $700 million or something. Well, the figures are indeed real, since Superman will not only need to be a critical hit, but it should also have a soaring box office record to allow the DCU to take flight. However, the director is under no pressure, which I honestly admire at this point. If James Gunn's Superman needs to be a commercial success, it will need to make a minimum of $560 million at the global box office to be considered a success. Although it is quite a target, James Gunn revealed that all the numbers are nonsensical, and the situation doesn't need to be as big as people are claiming it to be. And it's just complete and utter nonsense. It doesn't need to be as big of a situation as people are saying. Of course, James Gunn is indeed right in not taking pressure because it's not like he can change anything about the film now. However, the box office tracking for Gunn's Superman shows a promising future ahead for the DCU movie, and perhaps they could potentially beat Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. A previous report by The Hollywood Reporter stated that the budget of the upcoming James Gunn movie was estimated to be $225 million, excluding marketing costs, which some say will be an additional $200 million. Unfortunately, the 2013 movie experienced a decline in earnings during its second week, with domestic sales dropping to $41 million. Despite the dip, the film managed to earn a total of $291 million at the domestic box office and $376 million globally, reaching a total of $667 million in earnings. Per Box Office Theory, it has been suggested that Superman will have an opening debut of $130 to $170 million domestically. With its continued streak and people's interest in the movie, it has been alleged that the movie will reach a total figure of $358 to $457 million in the U.S. during its theatrical run. Back in the day, when Man of Steel was released on June 14, 2013, in theaters across the U.S., it managed to pull a decent amount of money as it earned a total of $116 million during its opening weekend, per the numbers. Although Zack Snyder fans might feel disappointed, they should know that James Gunn's Superman is also geared towards children and teenagers, whereas Zack Snyder's Man of Steel had a very gloomy outlook and a darker storyline, which, obviously, had an impact on the box office record for Man of Steel. Chin up, Snyder fans, it doesn't always have to be a competition. Are you excited for James Gunn's Superman? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. That is already $100 million ahead of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel and could be the blockbuster movie of this summer. If it does happen, the world will come to know that the DCU is in safe hands and that James Gunn will take care of the cinematic universe as if it were his own child. There's an obvious way that Zack Snyder can be brought into the new DCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Snyder was known for directing many of the DCU's movies, including Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. The director eventually moved away from the superhero universe to direct some of his passion projects like Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon, but that doesn't rule Snyder out from returning to the DCU under Gunn. James Gunn's new DCU is now in full swing, putting to bed the past films and series in the DCU, including many of Zack Snyder's works. However, the new DCU has a project on its slate that would be perfect to reintegrate Snyder into the cinematic book universe. Finding the right DCU project for Snyder would be an easy way to appease these fans and give the director a chance to return to his comic book movie expertise. One issue lies in Snyder's reluctance to return to the DC world. In December 2023, Snyder told The Atlantic he was not knocking on James Gunn's door, asking to be let back into the DC. However, he also expressed interest to The Hollywood Reporter at the time in making a Dark Knight Returns adaptation for the DCU, so there's a chance the right project could bring him back. The old DCU was heavily influenced by the tone and style of Zack Snyder. While James Gunn and Peter Safran's new DCU is going in a different direction, that doesn't mean it can't still incorporate other directors' visions. In fact, bringing Snyder back could actually be of benefit to the new DCU, as the director brings with him a passionate fanbase eager to see him take on more superhero projects. Early in 2023, Gunn and Safran announced The Authority, which has been described as DC's version of The Boys. The Authority features a team of heroes gathered from Wildstorm Comics, one of whom will make an appearance in 2025 Superman. The group is something of an anti-Justice League and, while they are good-intentioned, the group is more cynical and aggressive in their methods to protect the planet. As for what that project might be, it can't be something he has done before. The character of Superman is being taken over by Gunn himself in the 2025 Superman reboot, and Batman is handled by multiple directors in Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 and Andy Muschietti's The Brave and the Bold. Instead, Snyder needs a DC project that takes him back to his roots and suits his darker tone and sensibilities. Luckily, there is such a project on the docket for the DCU's first phase. No filmmaker is presently attached to The Authority, although Gunn has made it clear the concept is a passion project of his. However, the director is already quite busy directing Superman, writing Creature Commandos Season 2, and overseeing the entire DCU slate. It's possible, and almost likely, that Gunn won't have time to board the project as a director, but he could attach himself to it as a writer. In some ways, The Authority is similar to Alan Moore's Watchmen, which was a satirization and deconstruction of the superhero genre. One filmmaker who knows about Watchmen is Snyder, who directed a film adaptation of the graphic novel in 2008. Watchmen may have earned middling reviews, but that doesn't derail Snyder's experience and understanding of the superhero genre. Directing a project like The Authority would allow Snyder to play in the new DCU while returning to his darker Watchmen roots, giving him essentially a third chance at the superhero genre. The two creatives clearly make a good writer-director duo, so The Authority seems like the perfect project to reunite Gunn and Snyder. The Authority also serves as the perfect re-entry point for Snyder back into the comic book movie universe in a way that appeases fans of the Snyderverse while still allowing the director a fresh chance at the superhero genre. In 2023, Gunn mentioned to Collider that he'd already written much of the outline for The Authority himself, so he could potentially bump himself up to write the script and then bring in another director to take it from there. When it comes to choosing that director, Snyder is a logical choice given his and Gunn's work history. In 2004, the duo worked together on Dawn of the Dead, which was Snyder's breakout hit as a director thanks to a script that was penned by Gunn. To this day, Dawn of the Dead remains one of Snyder's most acclaimed works. David Corenswet's idea for an R-rated Superman can perfectly go alongside a DC comic story that James Gunn needs to adapt for the DCU.